The second iLembe Book Festival, it promises to be an inspiring gathering centered around the themes of heritage, diversity, literacy, and just the vital discourse surrounding the unifying concept of Africa Unite. So taking place at the historic Luthuli Museum in Groutville in KwaDukuza from October the 23rd up until the 25th of October. This festival aims to foster meaningful conversations amongst authors and readers and community members. And this year's festival features an impressive lineup of over 20 renowned authors from South Africa and all across the continent. So for more on this, we're going to be joined by award-winning author Sihle Qwabe and novelist Nozizwe Jele. Good morning to the both of you. Thank you for your time at this hour.
Thank you so much for having me.
Nozizwe is joining us online, but Sihle, you here, and obviously with the return of this, we've just passed Heritage Month, but I mean, we know the importance of what reading means for our country, given the alarming stats amongst our youth, but also just in preserving our memory and remembering who we are, right? Part of that social cohesion project. Tell us about this edition for 2025.
This one is it's a really interesting one. Obviously, iLembe is coming back for the second time. It's bigger now. It's more exciting because some of the authors we have. Even myself, like, I'll be there as an author, but more than that, I'm just a groupie, I'll be honest. I'm telling you, like, we have...
Tell us about some of the authors.
Okay, so many people write,
there's 20, right?
Yes, there's more than 20. There's more than 20.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Because we'll be having guys like Fred Khumalo, Sfiso Mzobe, Mputumi Ntabeni will be there as well.
Okay.
Like, there's a whole lot of names. So this is a very exciting one. And then we're just exploring these concepts, obviously, about identity, African storytelling. And then we also even have some authors from the region, authors from KwaDukuza. And I think that's really exciting doing this event in that area. And then you have people who have been there living in these streets every single day. And then now they're on this platform where they represent their own districts in such a beautiful light.
Sure, those are some powerhouses that you've got there. I want to bring Nozizwe into the conversation as well, because language is also important. Nozizwe, good morning. If you can also hear us, thank you for your time. Sihle has just painted the picture about the exciting endeavor that we can expect for this 2025 edition. And we know the importance of inclusion and representation as well. And so in your view, how does literacy serve as a tool for uniting diverse communities in Africa? Perhaps also just to that Pan-African vision, right, of and for the diaspora at large?
Yeah, hi, good morning. Thank you so much. So yes, Sihle is right. We are returning for the second book festival, which is exciting for us because first of all, this event is happening in a community that, you know, one would say is on the outskirts. Yeah. So if you know KwaDukuza, it's about 45 minutes outside of Durban. And usually you don't see a lot of these events happening in these communities. But we felt, having recently moved to KZN and in this particular area, that so that is me and Ututu, who's also an author. So we just wanted to do something, share books, share the love of literature with the local community. And really that is how the iLembe Book Festival started. In terms of literature, I mean, in terms of literacy, so what we are doing is, and you're so right, and we do have a problem in this country with the literacy levels and the thing that you hear about, the statistics that are always being quoted. It's just so disheartening. So I think we have to ask ourselves as individuals, what is it that we can do, in our small ways to start contributing towards changing that? And for us, what we are doing with the event is on day Thursday and Friday, we're going to be visiting 2 primary schools in Groutville. And we will be donating books. We will also be putting books into their libraries. So they've got these beautiful libraries, but the libraries are empty. They don't have books. So one of the drives that we are doing with an organization called the Web Foundation and Nalibali and Macmillan Education, which is a publisher of school books, we will be donating thousands of books into these schools. And hopefully, and really our goal is to make sure that each child, as we leave the school, each child has a book that they can take home with. Because one of the other things that we find in these statistics is that more than 70% of children do not have a book, do not own a single book at home. So part of also just trying to contribute to the whole literacy thing is really being intentional about working with schools in this regard. In terms of Pan-Africanism, and yes, we've got an exciting writer, ILembe, who is from Sierra Leone. I mean, we got introduced to Ishmael through his book, A Long Way Gone. He was a child soldier, so in Sierra Leone back in the days when there was war in that country, and he managed to escape to the US. So he'll be sharing his story. And also he'll be sharing, we do have a panel that talks to, just as Africa, what are the possibilities, what are the challenges, and how do we move forward as a continent. So he'll be joined by other panelists, other local writers, just like unpacking that. And of course, unpacking the need for education and the need for our government to continue investing in our children.
Nozizwe, just I want to keep you on the line just before I get back to Sihle. I can see your image is a little bit unstable. So whilst we have you there, thank you for speaking to all of that, because we've seen, you know, the power of the pen as well. And yes, access is important, representation as well, but even just the role of publishers and the value chain there in terms of ownership as well, that adds to our agency. What, you know, what needs to happen on that front, perhaps to assist, to give us more agency in that matter? I mean, the pen is mightier than the sword at this point. We know the power of words, but we also know the power of who's in control of telling those stories as well.
Look, I think it's up to us, right? It has to start with us. It has to start with us at home. And we have to create environments. Remember, children, especially, they learn by mimicking certain things. So it has to start with us. Naturally, it has to start with us. But it is a bigger, you're right, it is a bigger collaboration. You do need publishers to be intentional about the type of books that are coming out. We also, as writers, we also need to take up the space. We need to not feel shy about it. We need to be very intentional about it. For example, I mean, one of the things that I've also been trying to do is to bring literature in our languages, because that also feels like it's now starting to lag behind. I think we've done well in terms of reading English, in terms of loving literature in English, but now it's time to also just like take a step back and go back and say, okay, what are we doing with our own languages? But it also requires government support. And I must say thank you to the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, because they have made this event possible, as well as corporate support as well is needed. And we've had we're fortunate to also be funded by the OMT Trust, as well as we're doing a partnership with Exclusive Books. It requires all of us to be involved.
Thank you, Nozizwe, for that. Sihle, I mean, you also having penned thoughts to paper as well. What are you reading? What's inspiring you? I mean, you're speaking about such a plethora of authors that are going to be there. So the conversations are going to be looking at, you know, much needed conversations that are happening for our country to heal, to add agency as well. Can you tell us about some of those exciting endeavors for you?
Definitely. I think when it comes to what am I reading? I definitely read everything. I think as a writer, you have to be a reader first, and you kind of just have to be a sponge, absorb as much as you can. So some of these people that will be at the iLembe Book Festival, I'm reading their work. Like currently, I'm reading Mphuthumi Ntabeni, and he will be there. It'll be so nice to meet him. But they're my favorite authors. I read like pretty much anything I can get my hands on, but I definitely enjoy reading guys from South Africa the most. I don't know, the stories are just more relatable for me because they talk about things that I know walking down the streets that I walk down to, and all the experiences that are also familiar for me as well. Yeah,
what do you think people should take away from this edition of the festival as well? And because it's in KwaDukuza, is it going to be spreading? Can we expect something else as well as it gains momentum? Because it's now the second edition.
Yes, it is the second edition. No, but I think I love where it is, right? Like when it just stays there KwaDukuza. I think that by itself is very important. As Nozizwe did say just now, that these districts so far away from town, and you really wouldn't expect such beautiful things to be happening there. But now they're finally happening, and I feel like that should go on. In places like that, especially rural areas, they should be getting more of these events, getting more exposure to books, so that I don't really know how to but I think you get where I'm going.
I absolutely do. I was trying to Google the book by Push, and I was wondering, The Wanderers. You know why? Because there was a quote that he had that actually touched me. It was about, it's only as infinite, the sky and the sea is the only thing as infinite as the sky, and it's the heart of God. So I remember that, and I think that was so befitting, because this is what the agency is all about when it comes to storytelling and owning our narratives, right? And remembering who we are, where we come from, those indigenous knowledges as well.
Thank you. Because it is bigger than life. I think that's another thing that's really important, like just documenting these stories. Because the thing about history is it changes every single time. Like when people look back at this day 10 years from now, it might be different. But if somebody is here to document that, we can always have something we can refer to as to remember that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Nozizwe, Sihle's given us a tease of what books he's reading and also just what's inspiring him, the conversations that he's looking forward to with some of your panelists. What's on your desk or your bedside table? What are you reading as well? But in terms of inspiring and being inspired, given where the world is at, the stories that need to be had, how we need to ground ourselves, right? What's inspiring you at this point?
Oh, the thing about organizing a book festival is you have to read, you have to know who's out there and who's doing wonderful things. So I am reading a variety of authors as well. Currently reading Shabnam Khan's The Lost Love of Abba Manzil. She's just been shortlisted for the Sunday Time Prize, which is amazing for her. I'm reading Braids and Migraines by Andile Jele. Andile is a local, so she's a KwaDukuza born writer, and she did fantastically because her book was published internationally. I'm also reading Lebo Mazibuko, Fabric of Love. It just came out from Kela Books, which is also my publisher, and also Advocate Moses Kakane's memoir, The Odyssey of Liberation, a memoir of a rebel advocate, and it is huge. It's like 500 pages. So I think he tells everything. Yeah. So he'll also be there. So if you wanna come and ask questions, easy questions.
All right, thank you.
He will be there on Saturday.
Nozizwe, Sihle, thank you so much for joining us, and we're wishing you all the best. Thank you for being part of the Social Cohesion Nation Building Project and for making sure that our stories are told. We're going to leave the conversation there. Sihle Qwabe and Nozizwe Jele talking to us about the second iLembe Book Festival that's happening in KwaDukuza.